What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to share a new mobile game that I've been playing a shitload recently, which is deceptively addictive and something that I thought was going to be more of a gimmick than it ended up being, and actually is super enjoyable. What I'm referring to is Marvel Snap, which is currently in early access and is available on iOS, on Android phones, and also on Steam. This is a card battler in the vein of something like Hearthstone, although really the only thing that this has in comparison with Hearthstone is the fact that both of these games use digital cards. What this is it's a Marvel flavor card collector game that you can play PvP against other players, and how it works is you have these 3 lanes that you stack your cards out on, and you compete in terms of power value against equivalent stacks from the enemy player on the other side. Now, where the strategy of this comes in is due to the fact that there's a shitload of hero cards built into this, and they have all kinds of weird effects that come, into effect when you play the card, or that give an overarching effect over all of the cards that you have in play, that affect the cards in your hand, that affect the cards in the enemy's hand, and so on and so forth. So if you're familiar with card games, then there's a lot of mechanics here that are similar to those, but of course this has that Marvel flavor. A large part of this game is also your collection that you build up over time, and you do this through actually playing the game and then earning XP for certain cards, or energy for those cards, or boosters as they call it actually, which you can then use to upgrade the value of those cards, which in turn increases the value of your collection, which in turn unlocks more heroes, aka more cards for your collection. Now, since this is a mobile free-to-play game first and foremost, there is of course a cash shop here, and unfortunately there are some pay-to-win-y kind of things that are sticking their head out here. The 2 main resources being in the game, one being credits, which you can buy through the shop at a limited capacity per day, and those credits can be used to also upgrade your cards, which increase your collection level once again, which unlocks more cards for you. Now, the second resource, which I already mentioned earlier, boosters, you can only get through leveling up the season pass, which of course this game also has, and through actually playing against other players and getting that as a reward for the end of match reward. I've been playing this for about a week and a half now, and I haven't gotten to a point yet where I felt like I was being victimized by a whale or someone that had just bought a sheer amount of cards or a sheer amount of upgrades for those cards, but that can certainly change down the line, and I'll be sure to report on that if that is the case. I think personally one of the reasons why this is not the case and why you kind of don't feel like you're getting stepped on by guys that have bigger collections than you is simply due to the RNG aspect of the combat against other players. Now, this might be one of the dividing things about people liking this game or not liking it, because if you, for instance, and I used Hearthstone as an example before, are a fan of card battlers like Hearthstone, but you don't like the extreme swing that you can get from cards that introduce a lot of RNG into the game, like, random effects happening as soon as the card is played or anything like that, then there is probably going to be a portion of this game that's not going to be appealing to you. Generally speaking, the 2 random situations that can potentially, heavily impact the flow of a game between you and an opponent is of course the locations, aka the tracks in which you do combat on. These are picked from a pool, and these are random effects which you have no control over. So in some cases, one location will open up and essentially say that every card that's played on that location is played somewhere else as well, and certain kinds of decks will benefit more from that. Likewise, you can get other ones that say as soon as a card is played there, it is destroyed, or as soon as a card is played there, it's moved somewhere else. There's a whole bunch of these locations, and all of them affect the gameplay in different ways. So I definitely think that is one way in which it essentially combats you playing against someone while you only have access to maybe 20 cards in your collection, and this person having access to 60. If you have a favorable roll on a specific location, or your deck is built in a way to maximize the effectiveness of certain situations or certain locations, then you could very easily actually beat that player no matter how big their collection of cards is. That being said, there is a ranking system in the game which essentially controls who you are matched against. And so this can also be the case of somebody that just plays very well or has been lucky with locations working out in their way, actually having a fairly high ranking but not having a massive collection. So all of these things together essentially means that you have an extremely diverse group of people that you play against, but certainly there is a meta in this game as well. And I've built a few versions of meta decks as well as my own creations, and I've certainly come across opponents who are using very similar strategies to me and very similar ways of trying to beat me or manipulate the cards in a certain way. Now, I don't know what the exact plan is in terms of like how many cards they're releasing per season. One of the seasons is about to wrap up actually in about a week's time. And so then certainly there will be new cards that are introduced. I also don't know about the sheer volume of cards that they plan to release over a certain amount of time. I'll be looking into that and bringing more videos like this about this game to the channel if there is an interest in it. At the very least, I'll probably bring out a couple of videos highlighting some of the decks that I've built, some of the combinations that I found that work very well in this game. And overall, I'm just really impressed by how much time this game has actually stolen from me. Most recently, I was traveling and I wasn't actually close to my usual setup, my consoles, my PC and everything. And in those cases, I usually turn to my old go-to, which is Hearthstone. But I figured I'd give Marvel Snap a chance, and I actually didn't turn on Hearthstone once in the entire trip. So super crazy. Let me know in the comments down below if you've tried this out. If you're a Marvel fan, it's kind of like a no-brainer. You can literally install this. It's free to play. Don't spend a single cent on it. Try it out. Try out some of the free cards and shit that you get right at the beginning. See if you like it. Don't buy the season pass yet. Don't do any of that. Don't commit any money. See if you like it, and if you do, consider picking up the season pass, because that's going to give you a whole bunch of additional resources and things that you can use to upgrade your cards. But yeah, check it out. It is pretty sweet, and it is actually pretty awesome that it's available on PC as well. So it is a mobile game. The interface is kind of really whack like on PC because it's literally just using up the middle of the screen, but I mean, it is in early access and who knows what they're gonna do with this in the future. But that's Marvel Snap, and that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Again, like I said, let me know in the comments down below if you've tried this out, and let me know what you think. Other than that, have a fantastic morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are in the world, and until next video, fucking cheers.
They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best.